And recording, Lee, it's all yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. As John mentioned, my name is Lee Anderson. I am one of the digital strategists here on the digital strategies team at the AFL-CIO. And this training is going to be on the RePurpose program. So we're calling this RePurpose 101. And with that, we'll go ahead and jump right into it. I just want to note before I dig in that my contact information is up on the screen. My Twitter handle is @Lee_Anderson, and my email address, landerson@aflcio.org, is there as well. So I urge you all to take note of that, write it down, take a screenshot of it. But I definitely want you all to have my contact info. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and just once again as a rehash, 1U is the hashtag that we use for anything union related on Twitter. So as we go through this, if you like anything that you hear or you just want to make sure that you're being involved in the conversation, you want to be sure to use that 1U hashtag. And with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into it. So what is RePurpose? I forgot to resize the fonts for this. So if you think of like an airline miles program meets online gaming, like what has become really popular as of late, things like Farmville, any of those games, and activism. When you combine all those three things together, what you get is the RePurpose program that we came up with. So how it essentially works is that you folks will come in to the union hall, the campaign office, and they're going to volunteer. And when they take action, whether they're walking a pack for you, or maybe you're having some sort of an event or a rally, and folks come out to that, but whatever it is, whatever action they take, once they're there in that office, the organizer inputs that information, and then when they get home, they get an email from us that basically says, hey, you're an awesome person. You took action today with us, and so what we've done is enrolled you in this program that allows you to get points for doing all of the wonderful volunteer actions that you're taking. And that is pretty much how the program works. I'm sure that a lot of the folks on the phone are familiar, like with what we showed in the last slide, either an airline miles or maybe some sort of a hotel point system. This is essentially the same exact thing. We just want to make sure that we are empowering the activists to do more of the wonderful stuff that they're already doing. And this tool makes that possible. So we'll talk a little bit, I kind of alluded to it a little bit in the last slide. We'll go in and talk a little bit about earning points. There's lots of different ways that you can earn points that would be used in RePurpose to spend those points on other items and to redeem those points on more activistic type things. Some of the ways that you can earn the points are I've got them here up on the screen. Some of the offline methods include doing canvas shifts, doing phone bank shifts. Maybe you've got a volunteer that's kind of helping out your organizing staff and just doing some data entry. All of these are things that the system is currently configured to give points for. Some of the ways online with more digital platforms and mediums that you can use to earn points are signing a petition. Many of you were also, some of the names that I see here were also present for the phone, for the trainings that we did yesterday on FAN, the virtual call tool that we use here. You can get points in RePurpose for matching friends on FAN, for making calls with FAN, if you pledge to volunteer in your local office, or even by just recruiting, other friends that you may have, people that who are really interested in having an impact and making a difference. Those are some of the online ways that you can get points. But once again, the moral of this is that there are so many different ways that you can get points, both online and offline. And we figured that, since our volunteers are going to take these actions, they've been taking these actions, hopefully we're going to, keep them engaged and they'll continue taking these actions. So we wanted to make sure that we were properly incentivizing them and giving them meaningful ways that they could see, some sort of a real impact, with the volunteer efforts that they've been making. Now, once you've gone into your office and you've canvassed, you've made calls, or even some of those online methods there, maybe you signed a petition or something of that nature. Now you've racked up all of these points, or your volunteers, I should say, have been racking up all of these points. Some of the ways that we currently have on the system for them to now spend the points that they've earned are, they're kind of broken out to 3 buckets: low, medium, and high point redemption items. Some of the lower point redemption items are things like digital yard signs. We've got some that are specific to labor, some that are specific to various races or candidates. But that is a fairly low point item that you can redeem these points for. And once again, that is good because people, it's a weird thing. People love yard signs. People love to, feel like they're, waving it proudly, so to speak, as far as who they're voting for or where their political thoughts and allegiances lie. So digital yard signs we found are a really good item to offer, and people are really into them. Some of the medium point items there, you'll notice we've got buying online ads, or even doing interesting things like supporting striking workers. That, when we originally rolled this tool out during the 2012 cycle, we didn't roll it out with very much time to really have a chance to either properly train people on it or really dig into it. But even with that, the supporting striking workers was one of the largest redemption items that we saw using the RePurpose program. People seem to really love the fact that they can have a real life impact on real people, real workers who are going through some real problems. And just having a medium where they could go on and actually literally take some of the activist work that they have already done and turn that literally into dollars that would help their fellow workers. We had a phenomenal results with that one, and it's an item that we're still currently offering and probably will continue to work or to offer, I should say, as workers come up against lockouts and strikes and just all of the various things that we face as workers sometimes. Some of the high point items include creating your own online phone bank using the Friends and Neighbors tool. And once again, that's something that we talked about during our 1U training yesterday. You can also do things like pay for Working America Canvas team. Now, before I go any further, one of the things that I want to say is really cool about this program, you'll notice that these are all items now that we refer to as high point items, which means exactly what it says, that these are pretty much, these are like the Cadillac items of all of the items. They're the ones that are going to cost you a little bit more. So one of the fabulous provisions that we've made with the RePurpose program is allowing volunteers to pool those points together. So in the event that maybe, let's say you want to get a canvas team, maybe there's a race that's, it's really important to you and your family, your community, workers around you, and, maybe you realize, hey, my folks here are struggling. Maybe if we get a couple more boots on the ground, we can have, a better chance at winning this thing. But you yourself don't have enough points to do that. You can actually use the RePurpose program and talk to your friends and say, hey, y'all, we've been going into this office for months, and we've been making phone calls. We've been walking packs. We've gone to rallies. We've signed petitions. We've done everything that we have to do as good activists, but we still think that we need a little bit more of a push. Let's try to put our points together so that we can get one of these higher ticket items like paying for a Working America Canvas team, or something else that I didn't actually put up here in this particular slide, but even doing things like one of the items that we're going to start offering is high-level strategy calls and things like that. But we definitely saw that there's a wide range of uses that we could put this tool to work for, in terms of really making sure that we're not only incentivizing our volunteers, but also actually getting at our bottom line, which is winning elections, which is making advancement on some of our advocacy issues. And this tool allows us to do a really good job of that. You'll also notice that down there at the very bottom of that slide, I just put it out there. If you've got other ideas, please share. As I mentioned before, this tool was something that was developed and rolled out literally a few weeks before the 2012 elections. And so since then, we've been doing a little bit of background developing work on it. We recently just actually acquired a new vendor to finish out building out some more functionality into this tool, so that we can make it as good as it can be. With that being said, once again, I put my contact information out there at the very beginning of this. If you have any ideas about things that you think that volunteers in your neck of the woods would either like to see as ways to earn points or to redeem those points, I would love to hear from you. I would love to, be able to talk through some of those things and really making sure that we're providing the added value that we strive to provide here at the Federation. We'll talk a little bit about the account and kind of what happens under the hood to make all of this possible now. So there is an account screen, of course, and when you go into there, it gives you all of the standard stuff: your email, your name, exactly what city you're in. But it also lets you know exactly how many points you have currently and your lifetime total points. It gives you any notifications, if maybe you have either a new item, maybe that you had requested that maybe now is available, or perhaps maybe you suggested an item and, we're trying to respond back to you. All of those types of notifications are also available from this profile screen on the back end. It also shows any accounts that you have connected. Right now, the only two other accounts that that the tool has the capability to connect up to is Facebook accounts and Google accounts. We may or may not expand that in the future, depending really on the use of our audience, of people who are logging into the tool. But for the time being, this seems to work nicely for us. It also, once again, as I mentioned during the last slide, allows you to transfer points. You can either send points to your friends, you can pool points together, but the tool also makes it possible for you to do those things. And it also gives you a history of other items that you've redeemed, and tasks within RePurpose that we feature to help our volunteers earn points. It will also give you a listing of those. If you kind of look in the screenshot I've got here, down in the bottom right corner of that, you see there it says completed tasks, and there's a list there of exactly what the task was, how many times you did it, how many points you earned, and when you did it. So it gives you a nice little overview, almost, if you will, of your actual activist footprint, so that you can see exactly, some of the amazing things that you've done, and really kind of take a minute to pat yourself on the back, and we want to make sure that our volunteers know about this so that they can see, all of the wonderful things that they're doing, and hopefully even that, just being able to kind of look at a digital silhouette, if you will, of the actions that they've taken can kind of help to ignite that bug in them and kind of spur them on to take more action. So I also mentioned that we wanted to talk a little bit about what's actually happening underneath the hood in the tool that makes all of this possible. So if you look at the screenshot that I've got up here, and actually this was supposed to have a little bit of animation. I don't know why my animation didn't come through. That's no problem. I'll just walk you all through it. But everything starts right here at volunteering. Once again, as we had a slide that illustrated a couple of, about maybe 3 or 4 slides ago, volunteers come into the office. This is not only the beginning of this process, but it's also ultimately what it is that we're trying to perpetuate and to encourage. We want to keep those volunteers coming back. So when they come in, they volunteer. From there, the data gets entered into the LAN. by the field organizer, or if they're using something like, for instance, if maybe you're running a fan campaign and your volunteers come in and they make calls on the fan, that information goes into the data entry actually immediately and will go straight to RePurpose. But for other things, maybe that are not on the fan tool, or just other tasks that have not been automated in that way. After the volunteering, it would go to data entry. From there, that information goes straight into the RePurpose tool, and then the RePurpose tool will generate points. Those points, when people redeem that, what it actually translates to is program. And I think that really, especially in terms of the way that we want to talk about this program to our volunteers, I feel like this is really important, because what everyone loves to feel like they've been consulted. Everyone loves to feel like they had a real say in what happens. And ultimately, that's what the RePurpose program does. It allows our volunteers and the people who are coming in and consistently taking action with us to have some say in how we're running program, and ultimately where we're spending some of that programmatic money at. And when we do that, when we give them the opportunity via the points to affect the program, what that does is it encourages more volunteering, and this lovely cycle just continues. It just keeps going round and round. And that we found to be really powerful, because in a lot of the polling that we did when we were initially, kind of conceiving this tool and trying to figure out exactly how it would work, as well as just, things that we've observed and actual feedback that we've heard, from real live volunteers. Sometimes everybody gets the concept of incentivizing, but sometimes, if you've got a volunteer that's coming in, they're like Old Faithful that comes in every Tuesday at 2:00. They're going to come in, they're going to sit there for at least 2 hours and make calls. They're going to help you do little things around the office. Maybe they're, cleaning up, or, going out on a lunch run for, other volunteers who are in there or something like that. You've got those people. It is such an insult when they come in week after week and they're donating their time, their resources, and then you do something like, give them a bumper sticker. What we found is that they actually find that to be insulting. So we've fared better with them and seen better results by really empowering them to actually do more. These activists and our volunteers, they take action and they volunteer with us because they believe in it. They believe in what we're doing. They believe in the campaigns that we're running. They believe in the pro-labor friendly candidates that we're backing and that we're trying to push and promote. And so for somebody like that, the greatest gift that you can give them is the ability to keep doing what they've already been doing, and to keep feeling, really A1 about it, and just feeling like they're actually having an impact and some say in terms of how the program is being run. So as I mentioned a moment ago, and I've kind of already been, kind of giving the reasons why we want to use this tool from both angles, not only for us as organizers, but also for us as volunteers. But I felt like, once again, especially within the context of this training, it was really important to kind of just try to hammer those things home again, because at the end of the day, this is certainly not a tool. This is not a tool that is for us. This is a tool that is really for our volunteers. Those are the ones that we really want to encourage to do this, and to be able to have an impact on the program that we run. But we want to use it because it does empower our volunteers. And when our volunteers feel empowered, they're going to do what? That's right. They're going to keep coming back. Not only does it empower them, but it also provides incentives. Sometimes even when you feel empowered to do something, sometimes just because of daily life and other factors, it can be a little tough. But if you know that there's even a small incentive in there, it kind of gives you a little bit more of a reason to kind of push toward it, to maybe push through not feeling so great today and still coming in and making some phone calls, but we want to make sure that we're giving them those incentives. It also reinforces best practices as far as how we engage with our volunteers, and how we're talking to them and messaging these issues and things to them. And it also helps us to build our local resources, because once again, the more that we're engaging our volunteers and the more that they're using this program and the more that they're coming back, they will essentially want to reinvest right there on the ground on many of the campaigns that we're working on, which will do exactly what that mentions and build and expand our local resources. From the perspective of the volunteers, once again, as I mentioned before, it gives them a real voice in how we spend those resources. And, that's a huge gift to give. It's a huge way to empower them to really know and feel like they're making a difference. When they can actually, leave and say, we weren't paying enough attention to this race, but I got together with a couple of my other friends who volunteer, for the state fed here, and we were able to actually hire more canvassers. We were able to, get maybe one of the top digital minds in the country on the phone to strategize with us around, how to work through this difficult landscape that we've got here politically. But it really gives them a voice in spending those resources. And it helps to build local support for local priorities. Think about how much more your volunteers will talk about the campaigns that we're running, talk about the wonderful things that we're doing on the ground, when they can really feel like they can take a piece of the ownership in that, And most of all, it's fun. It's fun to know that you've, got a little bit of friendly competition going on with some of the other volunteers on the ground there. It's fun to, log in and see that you've gotten more points and, every day you see that they're growing and looking at the new, items that are available there for you to redeem. And as this program, grows, particularly, as we're heading into the elections this year in 2014, keeping an eye on 2016, we're really going to be looking to expand where this program is available. Currently right now, because this is being run through Workers' Voice, that means that in terms of where many of the redemption items are going to be available, they will only be available in Workers' Voice states. Right now, we're still getting clarity in here in National as far as exactly which ones are going to be Workers' Voice. And if there are any folks on the phone who will end up being Workers' Voice states, once I find out, you don't have to worry about contacting me because I'm going to contact you so that we can really figure out the best way to run this program there. And we want to, be sure to give it an effective rollout strategy and plan to make sure that we're driving folks to it, that we're talking about it, we're getting people excited and getting them ready to not only know about this program, but to use it actively and also to tell their friends about it and get more people involved and invested. With that actually kind of brings this to a close. I know we blocked off about an hour for this training, and it's only been about 28 minutes. But I do just want to take the time now to open the floor up for any questions. If there are any questions either about redemption items or ways to earn items, maybe somebody on the phone has got a suggestion as far as what they think would be beneficial there on the ground, keeping some of their volunteers and their local landscape in mind. I'd love to hear about it. So I'm going to open that up to you all. And if you hit the number 1 button on your keypad, and that'll signal us that you're raising your hand, and we'll respond to you accordingly.
Well, I say this every time, Lee, but I'm going to make the same joke again. You did an amazing job. So far, no questions, but I know there's a little bit of a lag time, so we'll give it a little bit of a time to see if a hand comes up at all here.
No problem. I usually have up a GIF here of, there's 2 that I like to use, one of Beyonce asking any questions, and one of Robert Downey Jr. just looking confused as all hell. But I don't know, I keep seeing like these keep calm signs, so I decided to make my own that says keep calm and ask me anything. So, anything within reason, of course. But yeah, any questions about the RePurpose program, any suggestions, I'd love to hear them.
I think you're free and clear.
All right. Yeah. Well, to all the folks that joined John and I today, on behalf of both of us in the Digital Strategies Department here, I just want to say thank you so much for logging on to our 1U Digital Training. Once again, my name is Lee Anderson. That's Lee_Anderson. You should totally follow me on Twitter. All my thoughts are my own, but I'm really fun and interesting to follow. So with that being said, I'm going to sign off here. And thank you all so much. Have a good day.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.